jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show.
Join us as we cover many an insane movie and numerous cult TV phenomenons. Are you ready to get jacked up? Are you with us? Then listen on.
Listener discretion is advised. It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show.
Welcome to the show. We got semi-retired COVID survivors, Scott McGregor here.
Hello.
Hello. And we are going to be diving into a favorite movie actor, Michael Madsen. Yes, brother of actress Virginia Madsen, best known for his Tarantino collaborations. What are the movies, TV shows, festival movies, direct-to-video crap, and video games that he has been a part of? Let's dive in.
I forgot he was Virginia's brother. That's cool.
It's all good. And
I used to have a mad crush on his sister.
oh yeah, everyone did. And we've done our best, guys. He's got 300 credits, so I've seen a shit ton of his stuff over the years because it was just impossible to not see a lot of his stuff. It was just coming on all the TV channels. And
Yeah, I almost feel like I was looking over his IMDb and I almost feel unqualified to be here now because like I've loved him in everything, you know, obviously the Tarantino, I've loved him in everything I've seen him in, but I had no idea that he had
this
such
much,
a prolific filmography of
I
utter
cheated.
crap.
Totally. I cheated because like I had, always seen a bunch of his movies that were on the movie channels and cable TV, and I even just kind of knew about him because he just was always featured in some kind of interview about on a festival circuit or B movies, and
Yeah.
I saw how he just was just very slick and cool, just in everything, just often playing a private eye detective or.
Oh yeah, I mean,
He just was cool. He had the look, and so and it just helped that he had bit parts in just so many giant movies in the late 80s and early 90s, and then kept making guest spots on other hit shows, and then even then he'd just appear in a casual just movie where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get that, even though it's probably a piece of shit and has unusual Photoshop. He's with this giant all-star cast. Can't be all that bad.
Right.
So just so you know, I think I made a list somewhere of the people he often stars with. He has appeared in numerous movies with Dennis Hopper, Kiefer Sutherland, Val Kilmer, and various other Tarantino actors, all the various Sheens, Charlie, Joe Estevez, Martin Sheen, and even just other B-movie actors like Don the Dragon Wilson, Natasha Henstridge, although that's cheating. I was just in one franchise. Yuri Busey, James Russo.
Yeah. Well, I guess I thought. I mean, I'm kind of culturally, clueless because I haven't had the actual cable TV in years. You know, all streaming and all kind of pick and choose. And Madsen, I was always like, I guess I kind of thought that, you know, obviously he was a Tarantino staple, and I just kind of thought he was one of those actors that just kind of, you know, picked his stuff, you know, carefully and kind of waited for to call him. And no, he's pretty much a paycheck guy. He'll show up wherever.
Yeah, when he gets to the 2000s, he's pretty much in anything that also has William Forsythe, Eric Roberts, or Ice-T. And so.
Yeah, I want to check out that one. There's one in production or something that's got Forsythe and someone else that intrigued me, but I forgot what it was.
Oh, him and Tony Todd, and it's The Witching Hour. And I've noticed that's been in like development since like 2012 or something.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, Damn, was it just, did someone
just got,
die?
like-
Was there a lawsuit? Was the guy
Yeah.
Weinstein? What happened? And
Yeah. Anyway, I feel like I should since you have some listeners that don't know anything about me, but yeah, I used to be on Two True Freaks and did several podcasts over there. Some Walking Dead stuff and comic book stuff, and
yeah, and he appears in the Walking Dead video game as like a bad guy. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's one of the things I recognize. It's like, yeah, I played that. Yeah, he did. He was in GTA too, wasn't he? In one of them.
I think it's driver free, but I'll have to backtrack a bit. I did
Okay.
find it funny that he would do voiceovers for some of those kinds of video games, and he got pissed off knowing that his kid was playing it at his friend's house. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
don't fall victim to the propaganda that video games create murders. You literally would have to be very demented looking for it. You know, it's the same thing with movies. It's like the guy who shot up a theater that was
Right.
playing The Dark Knight Rises was going for that. He saw all those kinds of gory movies multiple times. Like,
Yeah. Oh, the wrong, mindset that could definitely affect you. But I mean, if anything, I think video games have prevented me from becoming a murderer in a lot of ways.
Oh, damn.
That's
say
for me
that.
and my
Don't
shrink
say
to work out.
Let's say that. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto 3, he was part of. He was then in, True Crime, Streets of LA, the sequel to Crime, Streets
Yeah.
of New York, and that had a giant all-star cast: Christopher Walken, CCH Pounder, Ron Perlman, James Hong, and
Nice. Wow. Yeah.
it just a who's who. And Russell Wong was the main guy. And yeah, driver free. So there's another part free video game. And Narc 2005. He Bill Bellamy, and once again Ron Perlman and Michael Wincott, his co-star from The Doors. So
See, I have a little more respect for actors and their video game work than I do like just pumping out 100, asylum movies or whatever.
Fortunately, he avoids the asylum until he gets to Megalodon, which is a sci-fi
I saw that one. I'm like, oh well,
There you go.
why not? You got the shark resume.
I'd probably do a shark movie too. I want to give a
Yeah,
shit.
sure. As long as they had at least one fake one for reference, so, they borrowed Bruce or something.
So
But
he starts off his whole career with Against All Hope. It's this unusual biopic, and I've seen it. It's a pretty dull movie, but you can see kind of where his acting was rising, where he could just he was trained by John Malkovich apparently at his acting studio. But I think it's interesting that I think the reason he not only just had the look of someone who could be a cool guy or a boyfriend, you just have a sense that something is going on in his mind, and it just shows on screen. And it's like, that's, I think, why he's been able to just power through any of these movies. I just got to sit here and smoke a cigarette and put on some glasses, Before all that, here he's just got to look flustered and say, oh, I'm going to give up a bottle.
yeah, he's got the face and the voice going on. I mean, the classic, has it, as Hollywood would say. And it's funny, I rewatched War Games the other day and realized that was the first place I've ever seen him.
Really? Okay, nice. I didn't know he was in that at the time.
He was the first few minutes, and he was the one of the missile guys that was
one of the techs who holds a gun on someone.
The one that didn't lose his shit, and he had to hold the gun on the other guy. So there you go.
There you go. Typecast for life.
Just from infancy, Michael had guns in his hand and looked cool doing it. So you got to go with that. And Diner, the TV movie Diner, I remember.
Oh, really?
On his list. Yeah,
Was
very
it
briefly.
Oh, it was a TV pilot based on the Levinson film. Wow.
And I remember I used to watch the Hitchhiker series on HBO. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So without further ado, hell, I guess before I jump into his film stuff, I might as well mention all the TV shows he's guest starred on, because he's had a bunch of brief recurring roles that are pretty key. So
yeah,
his second credit was a brief recurring role as a bigot, asking his brother to get out of the hospital so he could get revenge on a black game that hospitalized him there on St. Elsewhere. He guest stars on Cagney and Lacey, Miami Vice, and The Hitchhiker, and had a brief gangster soap called Our Family Honor. Then another brief recurring role on Michael Mann's Crime Story, which is an awesome show. Warm Remembrance, Tour of Duty, I definitely recall that one, Jake and the Fat Man, and Quantum Leap. Yeah. And then the rest of it is kind of a blur until he starts having his own TV show in the late 90s called Vengeance Unlimited, which was kind of his attempt at doing an equalizer kind of persona on ABC. And then probably another federal agent role on Big Apple, which was Deadwood and NYPD Blue co-creators. Milch, his attempt at another fun, complex crime thriller. And then, once again, he did the 44 minutes, the North Hollywood Shootout biopic film, which was pretty good. And then just the ESPN show Tilt, which was about poker players and gamblers, which is also very good and you can find on Tubi. And then I really dug his other guest spots on CSI Miami, as well as his brief recurring role on 24, because he just played so well opposite Kiefer Sutherland. And and that one he was playing in former Delta Force turned like career criminal friend of his who was helping him get out of a bind when Bauer's on the run after being set up wanted. So, and then he's even guest starred as a voice playing his Wyatt Earp co-star Kevin Costner in an episode of Bob's Burgers, so that's wild. And then he just starts making the rounds. Once again, appears alongside William Forsythe in the Mob Doctor show, and then just back to B movies and indie films and direct-to-video shit. And I think what's just so funny is he's doing all these other impressions and music video appearances as well. It's like, geez, he must have the same agent as Eric Roberts. He's got to. So War Games was your introduction. I can't really remember because I was definitely seeing parts of various movies. Maybe I definitely saw parts of The Natural, Species, even.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Species. I've seen his marquee movies, basically Wyatt Earp and all the Tarantino stuff, and Mulholland Falls, and
and that's just it. Reservoir Dogs is probably still his best Tarantino role to date, because just Mr. Blonde was just my favorite psycho growing up. That's where it's like, man, Madsen, he's gonna go.
I got thinking about that today, and I'm just like, Michael Madsen kind of made, I don't know if Tarantino would still exist if not for Michael Madsen. Like, he was so, his, the Steelers Wheel ear scene, which has forever ruined that song for everybody.
Yeah.
When I first showed it to my girlfriend, I'm like, I'm warning you, you will never hear this song that you love again the same way without having this image in your head. And just that, and I'm sure that wasn't on the trailers, or at least a snippet of that.
It had to have been, from what I call it is. I
just think that scene in itself and his performance in that was just so iconic that I don't know if that movie would have stood out as much without him, or would have gotten as popular without him.
I mean, Cattell and Roth were already powerhouses, but he just brought it to a totally different level. Buscemi had the best quotes, but Madsen has just the intimidation factor down to a T, and it's interesting seeing how, I see him in, he's pretty good in Kill Bill as Bill's brother, and he would then from that point on pretty much star in a bunch of other weird movies that also had Daryl Hannah and Carradine, his Kill Bill co-stars, and that was kind of the shtick. Hey, you want to see this stupid or fun or decent or bizarre movie that has 3 actors from Kill Bill? Yeah, here you go. And I look at his other 2 Tarantino roles after that, and it's like he didn't even bother using him. He just wanted to put him in the movie. Come on, man, use him.
I mean, Kill Bill was great, but
have him just say a cool line and just smoking a cigarette. And I mean, hell, he's got a poetry book based on unusual people he's known throughout his life, and it's very visceral and sometimes violent, and it's just awesome. And I'm like, can he just read stuff from that? That would just make your movie instantly awesome, just having him read that.
Right, yeah. But, it's just so iconic. I mean, you ask any, not extreme movie buff like us, what they would remember about that movie, and it's got to be his scene. So.
Oh, totally. And even roles where he's not necessarily important or it's a role anyone could play, I really never feel like he slushed it in. And people notice, he was in Species, but then he was also in Species too. And he just would always, I just started even making my own Facebook page, just Michael Madsen facts, just capitalizing on the Chuck Norris jokes and all other shit like that. I was just like, he makes everything just better. And he can give a good performance even when he kind of somehow will look at the viewer in a way where it's like, what the fuck is this movie?
Yeah, exactly. But he's a working actor, man. I mean, I couldn't believe how prolific he is, and then just he's either got some really expensive habits that he's got to keep doing it, or he loves the craft or whatever.
Pretty much. And throughout the late 80s and early 90s, he pretty much just stars in nothing but just noirish stuff where
I mean, he's been willingly typecast, or he's a great actor. He could have done anything, but I mean, if someone's going to keep writing you a paycheck for being the tough guy or the grizzled cop or the thug, then why not take it and he doesn't phone it in, as you said, just owns any role he's in, and he's comfortable with that. So.
When I talked to his common co-star, Joe Estevez years ago, there's another guy. He's not Martin Sheen, but he looks like him, sounds like him, and he's pretty good. But he mentioned how Madsen had like 5 kids, and so he's like, yeah, he can't not turn it down. He's got
right, yeah, that's what I figured. There might be some child support going on there or something.
I know he had another trouble-bound kid who also briefly tried acting, was in one of the Divergent movies. I don't know what happened, but it is what it is. I've never heard him be unprofessional on a set either, which is pretty cool. I've heard about Eric Roberts goofing around, but I've never heard about him or Rutger Hauer or anyone else coming to set.
Yeah, which is rare these days. It's like every time we turn around.
Oh yeah,
like I just got. Well, I can't spoil this, but for my girlfriend, I don't know if you've watched The Expanse, but I just finally got into it.
Great show.
And binged the whole thing in like a month and a half, and then realized that like I binged up to the point where the new series started, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I was like on episode 5, and I'm like, all right, cool. I know it's the end, but 5 more episodes to go. Like, nope. But one major character they offed later on in the series, and we're not going to say who because my girlfriend's sitting right here. But I found out later it was basically because he'd been a naughty boy on the set, and
oh like, no,
Jesus, is there any show this doesn't happen on anymore?
Yeah, I've heard about other actors who are just great in everything. Robert Knepper, who's probably best known for Prison Break, is apparently canceled, and I'm just like, fuck, dude,
I know.
Really? I thought you were a great actor. I guess you were just a freak. And there's other people, they're weird, but I've never heard them of just grossing people out, like what's it called, what's his name, or Bai Ling, I know is weird and often plays a lot of slutty roles, but I never heard her be just impossible to work with. It's just she's kind of just typecast in those kind of low budget crappy movies, so it's just like
Yeah, nothing wrong with paying the bills, absolutely. But as I said, I pick and choose, and I'm not probably going to go back and try to handle the whole Madsen catalog here at this point. But I'd forgotten that he was in. I don't know if you ever saw the Powers TV series.
Yeah, that was good because it's often been passed over because it was only on like PlayStation Network and it had a trouble at the beginning, but that was a good campy show. It had the Deadpool kind of. And even the boys kind of humor to it, and it's a shame it didn't have a wider audience, but it's pretty good for what it is. And
great cast.
I have seen
Eddie Izzard and Charlotte Copley, I think that's his name,
and most every other actor is pretty much impossible to keep up with. I've seen virtually most of Tony Todd and Lance Henriksen's careers, but it's going to be a while before I get caught up with Eric Roberts because he just keeps doing 10 movies a year. So I'm just like, well, at this point. I can still respect you for what you were before you decided, fuck it, I don't care anymore. But
I must fear change because I don't follow actors much anymore. I'll be browsing my streaming services, and
if they're in a movie that matters to you, then it's worth it.
Right? It's like, okay, there's 100 movies on here I haven't seen, but let's watch Donnie Brasco again for the 10th time. Why not?
And I think that one definitely gave him some more applause because after that he was just doing more indie films, playing the private eye. One movie, I mean, The Doors was pretty cool, but I'm so surprised he didn't stick around with Oliver Stone, and because even though it's a brief part, he and Wincott are pretty good as the Tex and other guys who know Morrison. Trouble Bound was okay for what it was, but it was pretty dumb. But Beyond the Law was another one I remember growing up that had him as a evil biker who Charlie Sheen was undercover with, and I mean,
okay, I think I did see that one too,
even just being the dad in the Free Willy movies. I mean, that's gotta be something. And
Those I missed. I must admit, I never caught it fully.
All good. I know he's
Which is
still,
weird because I'm a big fan of marine animals, but I just never got around to that one.
it's a lot. I cheated because it was just played randomly in high school one day. I would otherwise never seen it, but
And I was always the guy that would root for the whales to eat the trainer too. When I went to
right.
SeaWorld, so I really
Going down, baby.
that movie.
Going down.
And maybe that was it. I knew there was no, devouring of trainers in that movie. That's why I took a pass on it.
Pass, man. No one dies. Pass. I know he still considers the remake of The Getaway to be his favorite role. And
It
I will
was
say,
a good flick. It was a good flick.
yeah, a lot of people hate on that one now, but I think it's pretty good for what it is, even though it is over the top and James Woods has been canceled. But
Rightfully so. I'm still gonna watch Videodrome every now and then. Sorry, they're
right. Man with a Gun is pretty underrated film. I gotta say, you can find that on Amazon and other sites, and it's just again there he was playing kind of just a cleaner out on the run from a bunch of men and everything, and but yeah, Donnie Brasco, he pretty much did back to back with Mulholland Falls, and there he got to work with his mentor John Malkovich, and I think I miss movies like Mulholland Falls because that was where basically movies were trying to be like The Untouchables, and it was just a year before LA Confidential, and I see other films try and recreate that film now and again, and it's like hard pass. You guys don't get what makes them good, like Gangster Squad. What the hell was that?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I don't know, where do I go with this? As I said, I feel like I'm at a loss because I haven't seen any of his TV stuff or anything like that.
He was in a brief role as this dead private eye who pretty much he gets to play a corpse, and you only see him in flashbacks. And
okay, awesome.
It was produced by Ben Stiller. I forget the name of it. It was just this weird thing, but it was just funny, and I'm just really not surprised when I see him. And I don't know, it's just like, you don't know if they don't want to use him or they just think he's a grunt. Because I was that way with many actors on Breaking Bad who you see them fully fleshed out playing characters. I didn't think they were necessarily bad, but I just thought, okay, you're just going to play another evil asshole. But they had a chance to shine on there, and I think he was kind of just one of those. I would like to see him on a Breaking Bad kind of show, and
right.
He's getting up there, but I don't think he's really looking his age. And I saw him in one stupid B movie where he was basically playing a college professor, and you could tell they didn't even give him the proper wardrobe. His tattoos are showing. I'm like,
oh, Jesus.
He still powers through, and is still easily the best part of this stupid movie. But it's like, yeah,
you would think something like Walking Dead, or he was in the game, so you almost think that the show would have thrown him a bone and it's like, hey,
yeah, we want to actually.
They have
realize
Carver on the show too. I think no, maybe not, but
I don't know.
They could have easily transplanted that, and as you said, Breaking Bad. They rolled out the co-star from friggin' Scarface, for God's sake, for that one.
You're right. You get all those guys, and you don't get him.
Yeah.
He could have been in a Lethal Weapon type or Die Hard or Beverly Hills Cop type movie, and you just wonder, other than the CSI appearance, did he just not have Jerry Bruckheimer's number? His agent asking for too much money. He's never had any problems with working with various people, but he seems to just be thankful.
Yeah. Keep working. Why
He's
not?
worked only briefly with Jim Wynorski, Mr. Schlockmeister, on Piranaconda.
I just saw something in this list here. It's like Grindhouse Nightmares straight to video that, it's got to be interesting in some respect. Doesn't even say what he plays or anything, but
he's just too cool. And I can't tell you how many times it seemed like every 2 months, video stores were closed now, but even just in college, I would just see him pop up every once in a while at Redbox, and I was like, maybe I want to see this. I never did, but
right, yeah.
It helped that I had Rapid Share and Mega Upload back then, so of course I saw his stuff or the other. And
so much to watch so little time, so that's why I see him in Tarantino stuff. He's better as a co-star. I don't even know if I'd be comfortable with him. Maybe back in the day, maybe right after Mr. Blonde, he could have led some things, but he's just so awesome as seasoning to any movie. at this
Yeah.
point. Like
'Cause
he
even-
played, basically one-dimensional gangster in Brasco, but I mean, he's got the swagger and he's just got the voice. And,
Mhm.
you know,
And who else
50%
has
of the
starred with
battle
all
right
the
there.
totally? Who else has starred in with all the bald ones?
Right. Oh, I didn't know that. He checked them all off, huh? There's a lot of them.
Yeah. Alec, Daniel, Steven, Billy. So the movies that are recent that I want to see that have him in it would probably be, well, Assassin's Revenge, Cobra Gator, Dead on Time, Angels Fallen, and the Star Trek parody called Unbelievable, where he plays the president, and a few other more recent crime movies, American Night, and every last one of them, which looks like a very awesome Taken knockoff.
Okay. I see he's got another shark movie here.
Shark
Season.
There you
Came
go.
out in 2020.
2 out of 10. You should totally see it.
Conjuring Book of the Dead.
So there you
Spit it in
go.
a bottle. Wow. Cosmic Radio. That looked interesting. As I said, that Witching Hour I might check out just for the cast. A big Forsyth fan. So,
Mhm.
yeah, they need to do some kind of like, I mean, they got like he's not in any of the guy. I can't even think of the name right now. The multi-starred 80-star action series. What the hell is that?
Unfortunately, I really
That's-
wish he would be in the Expendables. He was in a
That's
few
it,
of them. That
Yeah, I don't know
like
how
him
you don't
pretty much like
contact someone like him. Just have him be the guy
As
that cuts
close as
people's
he
ears
get-
off.
Oh, totally. Oh, that would be
Yeah.
hysterical. The closest he got was probably with Vigilante Diaries. That just had everybody. It was kind of a fun James Bond-esque 18, but R-rated. And, he starred opposite Paul Sloan, who he's been working with a lot lately, Jason Mewes, and even evil Michael J. White. And you don't see him right away, but he's just narrating the movie, and then he just shows up later, and he's like, man, this guy's just badass. He's mentoring the hero. I don't
It's too bad Tarantino kills off 90% of his, characters, because they could, man, if he ever wanted to cash in, he could just do, Expendables with his characters, and do a big bank heist.
He had a chance.
Ocean's Infinity or something,
He totally had a chance. Like he even bugged him a few different times, and he actually mentioned he was on a shit fest recently with Travolta called Trading Paint, where they're just car racers racing each other. And
Yeah.
Travolta's like, "How about you talk to, Tarantino? We were supposed to do that thing because people
Yeah,
forget."
I remember that
character in-
rumored for a while. They would have been great. Have a Vega Brothers movie. I mean, come on, it's just Prince money,
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because it did seem like he he essentially was just I don't know what was up with that, but it was very wild how he just came into the fold of it, and I'm glad you brought that up, but he was very. I'm sorry, I'm just can't speak to it. Yeah, it was a funny interview because Travolta's is telling him, Vega and Vincent in Pulp Fiction is actually related to Mr. Blonde. Like they mentioned it, they got the same surname and indicator and everything. And Tarantino kept saying, "I wanted, do a prequel movie with you guys years ago." And it's like, well, that's not going to work. You gotten way older, so
yeah, you got to do that stuff quick.
just like From Dusk Till Dawn, I think you can do a cool TV show about him. Just don't be like the Dusk Till Dawn show, please. But yeah, I mean, he just came into the fold of it, and it was just so funny. They're on this stupid made-for-the-internet movie called Trading Paint, and Travolta is telling him, "Hey, you should talk to Tarantino for me next time you see him." And he actually, it's so funny in the interview. He's like, "Me? You're John Travolta." What am I gonna say?
It's like, dude, I've only been in one of his movies. You're the next movie. What do you want me to do here?
Yeah, and I'm not. Again, you've had way bigger level than me, and you want me to say.
Maybe that was it. I don't know if Travolta's phone blew up quite as much as he thought it would. After he did pretty well though.
He's still going, and yet it's just so weird. It's like he'll just do.
He decided to pour all of his soul into Battlefield Earth.
You're right. and just went ape shit. Some agent should have told him, no, that's a bad idea. Oh, so what would you like to see him in? Since we pretty much covered the ground, I've seen so much of this stuff. Mentioning any more, but will just embarrass me. I know too fucking.
No, not at all. I mean, he's just. I'd love for him to do more video games. He's just one of those recognizable voices that just like, oh my god, cool.
He had a brief thing that was like on El Rey Network called Explosion Jones, and he was the voice, but there wasn't an IMDb at the time, so I didn't know what it was. I was like, this is kind of a funny show. What the fuck is this?
I can't even keep up with everything. That's why we've just gone totally.
I don't think he can keep up with it. He's even on a web series I saw that was on Amazon Prime, and he's not even listed. But again, it was like a zombie apocalypse show, and he was the president. And I was like, so I would love to see him play the president. And he keeps accepting those roles, even though in one of those interviews for one of them, in fact, yeah, that's the one he did with Joe Estevez called Corruption.gov. He's like, I'm not really believable as a politician. I'm like, then why are you taking the role?
They're asking me,
They're asking me, but I think he could pull it off. I don't know why he's shitting on himself like that.
Yeah. I mean,
he's deceptive. He could at least play a lawyer or
sure, yeah,
a security guard.
I know he's that's what character actors are like him are great at though. Like he can be like, rough and tumble, military, he can be cop, he can be thug, he can be.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think Lance Henriksen and Tony Todd are the better actors, but I also think compared to all the other B-movie guys, his career is leagues ahead of, say, maybe Yancey Butler from Hard Target fame, or she's apparently had a alcohol problem. But I mean,
shame because I wanted to see them finish Witchblade, but.
Yeah, Witchblade was a great show, and Drop Zone is a great Wesley Snipes film. But yeah, I think looking at his career, I think it's way better than any of these other B-movie actors, especially Forsythe and Danny Trejo's, or who's the other guy? See, Thomas Howell is like, yeah, he's been with all these guys in all these movies, and I still think he's got a way better resume than any of these guys because often he's got some interesting voice work or just colorful characters, and he just he might as well have been the CSI guy rocking the shades.
Yeah. Well, and what actors like that. I mean, like people like he must be in a race with Bruce Willis to make the most direct-to-video movies or something. Because every time, I open my streaming services now, there's Bruce Willis's face on something I've never heard of, and looks like complete garbage. And it's just like, wow.
I was enjoying some of his movies at first because they were produced by the guys who did. Some of his earlier blockbusters like Hostage and 16 Blocks, and now some of them is just like, this is just a confusing movie. It would have just been better had your career been like this for a while and you just shine through. But I think it's just the whole, he was only there 1 or 2 days, and so that just is bad press. Everyone just feels like you should just under advertise him a bit or something,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just so kind of blatantly.
Stallone was doing it too, and Arnold was in a few, and at least he's trying to do the Netflix card. I'm like, okay, now you better do a fun TV show because Kennedy's killed your career, and you should have kept your dick in your pants. If you had to rank his top 5 roles, what do you think they would be? I'll do 5 of mine. Obviously, Reservoir Dogs is going to be on there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you almost got to go with the original as his best. I mean, I don't know, because I mean, he's just so iconic in it. You can't really. Excuse me. Imagine that movie with anybody else. I mean, he's practically Chris Evans as Captain America, and that you just cannot do Mr. Bond.
I would have paid to see that back in the day and be Captain America.
No, I mean, just as far as iconic in the role, I liked it. He was in. Wait, was he in Heat, or am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Tom Sizemore, who he's often.
Yeah. Okay. See, I was thinking about this podcast, so I kept getting it mixed up. I'm like, wait, was he in Natural Born Killers? No, that was friggin' Sizemore, wasn't it?
I wish it had been him instead. Because now that I know that Sizemore's a prick, this is like.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is like, is he the guy that made the cheesy sex video, or is that Sizemore?
Oh, it was even worse. He apparently was touching people inappropriately. I'm like, fuck,
oh boy,
man.
Everybody nowadays. Well, you know what? I worked briefly in the media. I've never been like acting or anything like that, but there are just tons, and just that industry.
You don't know if it's a comment that got taken out of two consenting adults or what, but then it also just gets towards like, Jesus, you can't be saying
No,
that.
trust me, the entertainment business in general, and I was just in small town entertainment business, it definitely attracts narcissistic personalities and freaks and weirdos
And dicks who just can't keep
yeah. I even became one for a while. But, that's
Oh,
a
dear.
long story. Not to that extent, but every asshole-ish thing I did was consensual, but that's another story.
Being an asshole is different from just raping people. I'm just saying.
What am I thinking? I mean, all of his, you almost have to just rate his. I love Bud in the Kill Bill. He didn't have much to do, but I just thought Madsen.
So yeah, that's an easy one. So Kill Bill.
I don't know if I'm ranking him. Yeah, I guess I got it with Reservoir as number one. Getaway was. I'll go Getaway with number two because I really liked him in that.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what else.
So Getaway number 3, Reservoir Dogs number 1. Well, no, okay, Reservoir Dogs number 1, Kill Bill number 2, number 3.
No, we'll go 4 on Kill Bill because you didn't have that much to do in that massive of a movie.
Okay, so, well, just no order, just so we can get to a top 5.
All right, we got it. Didn't have time to think this through. I didn't know there'd be a quiz. I loved him in Mulholland, obviously.
Mulholland, yeah, falls. Yeah, that's just he just aces it there because he is up to the other level of the other actors compared to other ones where it's like take it or leave it, And
when he's in his zone, there's nobody better. I mean, it's like I got to put Brosco on there too because I mean.
Okay, so that's number 5, along with Species would be my number 6, and so then 7, 8, 9, and 10. Well. 7, I guess I could say Thelma and Louise, because even though I'm not the craziest about that movie, he did get to show a different side of just, being a boyfriend who just cared so much. And so, yeah, 8, I would probably say, of all the B pictures, I'll put Vigilante Diaries, because that is a pretty damn good movie. And I'm not going to go with any TV roles, even though he is in a bunch of good ones. Probably put Supreme Sanction because that's out of all the movies that he did that premiered on HBO, that's a pretty good one. He gets to work opposite of Christy Swanson from the original Buffy and Psych.
Oh.
And it's a pretty solid B action, covert assassin framed by her employers movie, and it's just hysterical too because it's also just worth hearing just because of the commentary alone. At one point his character is mistreating the character and touching her the wrong way, and the director's joking the best part of the movie, he's like, careful, you'll get in trouble.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a fun movie, and so that's my number. So I only need one more. How about The Hell Ride, which is just a hysterical movie he did with Leonard Valera from Blade 2 and Carradine, Vinnie Jones, and Dennis Hopper. That's just a tribute to the biker genre.
Yeah, when did that come out?
2008, and it's just hysterical. It was co-produced by Rodriguez and Tarantino. And
Hopper was still alive in 2008? I thought he exited earlier than that.
Let me see. When did Dennis Hopper die? It's all related, folks. 2010, so it was 2 years after that.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I don't know. What I'm really excited to go back and look up, though, is the Michael Jackson You Rock My World video he was apparently in as a thug.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what?
and that was when he didn't really have to be doing that either, but okay, why not? No,
I mean, Wesley Snipes did it, and so did he.
Works. This is kind of amazing how much he's like the Neil Young of movie actors. He's just a ridiculous amount of stuff.
Would you like to see him attempt to sing? Is that what you're saying?
Sure. I mean, he could do like one of those like the Jeff Bridges country movie he did a few years ago that won him an Oscar.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, why not?
Awesome.
Or just he could do like an old, Italian lounge singer type thing, in the spirit of the wrestler, get Aronofsky on it or something. Why not? Would I like to see him in a rom-com? Probably not. I don't know if that would work.
What are your favorite so bad it's good movies he's been in?
I mean, I don't know if I've seen any of them, which
You've seen them.
I guess
You've seen
probably
them.
Species 2 is about the only one
So there you go.
I purposefully went out and watched. I said I just didn't. I didn't have any idea how huge his library was.
You should see him in Ice Agent.
Ice Agent? Okay.
It's an outrageous take and knockoff, and the whole time he is basically just like, let's go kick some ass.
Was he in Golden Boy? Golden Boy TV series?
He was like the character's dad for like 1 or 2 episodes. It's
okay.
Pretty good show that unfortunately got canceled.
Oh, just so little time.
Dick Wolf, are you listening? Can you get him on a recurring role on Law and Order? Chicago Fire or something?
Yeah, I mean, I love to see him in more weird TV. I don't know why. That's kind of usually where his age of actor goes nowadays. Is the major, and he's done plenty. But I mean, usually they latch onto a good TV series or something.
Can Aaron Sorkin have him say an awesome speech? I know he could do it.
Sure. I mean, we're due for it. Sopranos is how many years old now? We're due for another good mob series or something.
There you go. I would watch the shit out of that. He could be on the spinoff of one of the Power or Yellowstone shows. So there you go.
Let's see, what if Sonny Black lived show? I don't know.
A Godfather prequel show. I don't know. The Chinatown reboot show is apparently on its way with Robert Towne involved. Maybe he can. What?
Really? China? How do you even do that? What? You mean based on Chinatown the movie?
I think also on the book a bit. It's a reworking, and it's like,
so
okay,
more
fine.
Jake adventures basically, or
I'm fine with a TV reworking as opposed to like a direct sequel or prequel, because that's just often just not good. It's like, okay, so you're a different version of the source material, fine, go for it.
But I don't know the book, unfortunately, from Adam. But I mean, that's one of those concepts like Planet of the Apes, the original. Is like, how do you really redo that spoiler again? But
spoiler. Apes kill people. Now I want to see him in a Planet of the Apes type movie.
Spoiler: mother, sisters, brothers. I don't even remember how that goes. Yeah, it's Chinatown, Jake. Forget about it. All right, what else do you need from me, man? I haven't podcasted in so long. I feel like I'm doing badly at this.
You're doing good. If you want to promote anything else that you've seen or might possibly be involved with, please. If not, thank you so much for being on here. I mean,
not much. Just happy to be in a new year, I guess, and
right,
and that I've survived the plague of our century. I should maybe give Mr. Madsen another look in some of his other stuff here, but maybe not too deeply. I may wait for some of these 20 or so movies he's got in post-production. The Lurking Fear, or is a deputy that might have some hope.
He's fortunately hasn't been in too many where I'm just like, I have no interest in this, and at the same time, like, there are some of them they're blatantly bad, but at least they did
what the hell
he's
is
not
this?
Credited half the time, or he is credited but he's not on the cover, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine with that, as opposed to just, like, there's so many other ones where it's just like, of course they're in this, who else would possibly be in this?
Are you on IMDb right now?
Yes, I am.
Find Book of Nightmares. It's near the it's like post-production.
That sounds amazing.
Well, but wait, click on it, look at it. It's got a picture of Tim Curry from Legend on it for some reason.
What the fuck?
But we've reached a critical mass here because Madsen and Sizemore are in the same movie.
Oh, he's been in like 5 other movies with him. Bailing, Not Surprise.
Lisette Anthony's in this.
Oh
and
my
Bailing.
God.
There you go.
Okay. Wow.
Well, I'm dead. That's on my watch list. To be
Oh,
sure.
he's got like a bunch of other things with Madsen called
If you're
Buckle
gonna
Up.
steal Tim Curry from Legend for your photo, then I
Oh,
gotta see
dude,
how that
you
turns
should
out.
totally look at this poster for Buckle Up. Oh my God, a 6-part series. So he can't decide if he wants to make it a movie or a web series, and it's got a photo of Tom Sizemore from Heat. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Oh my God, yeah.
So I think his offers are gotten way worse.
Wow, or they just got all these actors, Biling and Sizemore again.
I
So
mean, Biling,
they got together in front of a green screen and made like 5 of these movies all at once, didn't they?
What are the ones that are out now that he's done within this last year? Okay, so he's been in Cosmic Radio, which is about
might have to check that one out.
Christmas thieves.
All right.
Okay, everyone does a Home Alone Christmas type movie, but yeah, I pretty much want to see every last one of them in American Night. Those 2 crime thrillers look good. Burial Ground Massacre has a decent rating and it's on Prime, so fuck, why not? He's in a lot of these psycho thrillers. He's even guest starred on a movie that's like a continuation of like an Indian show, and it's also on
Daryl
Prime.
Hannah's in that Cosmic Radio movie.
Oh yeah.
Come on, girl, you're married to Neil Young. Do you need any money anymore?
Oh, there's the connection. There's how we tie it all around.
Yeah.
I also find it funny how many movies he co-starred in with not just Carradine and her, but also Faye Dunaway. I'm like, Jesus.
Wow, yeah.
There's another person who just I knew some late producer. She was kind of a hack producer in her own right. I won't name names, and just for respect for the dead, but it was also kind of funny. She talked how she like worked with like Faye Dunaway years ago, like on a movie like circa like 04, 05, and Dunaway basically just an assistant gave her some like food. You know, they didn't. It was low budget, so what food you got is what you get, and she just didn't even bother eating it. Just flat out just dumped it outside her trailer. I'm like, oh my God. So this business definitely wrecks some people to where it's just like, yeah, what the fuck.
Well, again, yeah, if you're Faye Dunaway and you still need to be doing movies too, then none of these people manage their finances very well.
Or they just seem to act because they're bored or something.
Yeah,
it's like, please, let's not.
I don't know. If I ever had like $1 million, I retire there and I just go live on a beach.
Some of it is the hack producers though too. Is like,
yeah,
why do I want to put the crew through hell just to film a very expensive cameo one day? And people aren't going to have anything nice to say about your work if they're just constantly just bickering with one another. And like you say, it is just wild how he just survived just so many different kinds of things. And I'm just glad he didn't, cater to just bottom of the barrel. Like you'd see, Ving Rhames and Danny Trejo will apparently star in some shit, and then they'll star in some good shit, for instance. Yeah. But he, I'm so glad he didn't, do any more shit fests with Vinnie Jones and Val Kilmer after a while, or even just to the point where he was like, hey, I'm going to be the bad guy in a Jean-Claude Van Damme or, Seagal movie.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too, is like half his shit that Seagal does, I think he would have just made way better because everyone would like to work with him and the movie could be reworked and it wouldn't suck. Like Seagal, who's going to just improvise a bunch of shit and then, leave for the day so his stunt double can do all the fights.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, people like, as you said, like him and who else did you just mention that just completely left my mind? Oh,
Val Kilmer or Van Damme.
Yeah, Val Kilmer and, just...
Van Damme has had some duds, but he's still kind of liked now that he's kind of got his shit together and he's kind of embraced his ego and just realizing, hey, I can laugh at myself now.
Yeah, and then like Danny Trejo, too. He shows up, but he's like...
everyone loves Trejo.
He's like he's the same reliable guy in everything he does, So that's why they keep
Trejo had another story like that where he's like, well, one day my car broke down, my wife was mad, and then the phone rang and I was told to be on a Call of Duty video game where I fight zombies as myself. So I said, yeah. So I think a lot of them do just, after a while, they do embrace it. And so both Trejo has a bunch of movies he's in that I will always love him for. And Madsen, I guess same kind of difference. Is like everyone remembers when he was handsome and had some cool, just presence to him, and he's been in some pretty good movies of the 90s. So yeah, it's like then you get to the 2000s, he's like he was often the best part of any B picture, whether it was good, mediocre, or whatever, like it or hate it. And I think again, he must have been picking someone's brain, saying, "Hey, just put me in as a cool ass detective." And I think I've never heard anything about him pushing anyone away or just begging for more camera time. I think he just kind of said, "I am just happy to be here. I've been a troubled youth, always, getting arrested by cops for dealing drugs or some shit." And I think he also just embraced the bad guy roles. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to give you every bit that you need." I'm not gonna,
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with being typecast as long as you don't phone it in, man.
not going to phone it in. If I
doing your
am,
craft.
yeah, I mean, I would see him every once in a while in a Sci-Fi Channel shit fest and be like, "Well, it's pretty good there," although, goddamn, that movie sucked.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around now. You see a lot of, whether it's like, as you said,
But that says a lot. People use
and-
you, and I don't understand why anyone would want to work with Faye Dunaway or just even Gary Busey, who are just gonna creep everyone out and just not shut the fuck up in between.
Bruce
takes.
Willis, apparently, even. I mean, I've read horrible stories about Bruce Willis, and people just keep handing him.
I only knew that he
Good
just
movies.
didn't get along with Kevin Smith, but I know Stephen C. Miller, when he did some of those limited release direct-to-video movies with him, said he was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I know when he had to do The Sixth Sense out of obligation because he also was filming this one movie that got out of control and basically it never got complete. But he definitely had an ego to him, and I think that's his it. Madsen he just doesn't come off as this type, and I've never heard anyone say, he just refused to say our dialogue or behave himself. And if anything, more often than not in an interview, he'll stop talking about himself after a while and just start talking about an awesome person he worked with. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Can you name anyone else who just can't not stop talking about themselves? It seems like
and
everyone
that begs
else.
the question: why doesn't he get more high-end stuff, man? Because you think the big directors and producers would want to be working with someone like that more often, but
I would totally.
they hire a bunch of idiots who are going to touch girls on their sets and
Yeah.
stuff.
I was heartbroken when I heard that VFW was shooting somewhere here in like Dallas or Austin by that scandal-ridden studio Cinestate, and I was just like, Fred Williamson was basically, the assistants were basically all pressured to do stuff beyond their pay grade, practically an illegally run set, and Fred Williamson is asking basically all the extras, "Hey, honey, could you give me a blowjob?" I'm like, God damn it, Fred.
You had to ruin Fred Williamson for me.
I heard about it, and it's just like, God damn it, Fred. Don't worry, I'm still gonna do a special on him, but I'm just like, fuck, man. Some of these guys do live past their prime, where you're just like, I want you to die with my good memories intact.
Right, exactly. Or just freaking retire.
Can you just die before you do something else
How about
stupid?
we just send you like the movie money just to not work anymore? How about, would that work? Like,
I mean,
send
other actors.
I'll send Bruce Willis $10 a month to not work anymore. How about that?
Well, see, or better yet, I would pay him to be in a good movie.
Yeah, that too.
As opposed to shit that
more for him.
I guess not. I mean,
so like Madsen should be knocking on Marvel's door. I mean, they're scooping up older actors left and right, man. Him and I don't actually want to see Bruce Willis in a Marvel movie now that I think about it, but I would love to see Madsen in one. He could do any. He could do a politician or crime boss or underboss to the Kingpin. Why not? We need one of those now. So
he did get to star with Kingpin himself, Vincent D'Onofrio, in this underrated gambling thriller. So
really, what was that?
It was called The Winner, and Rebecca De Mornay was also in it. It was really good. It comes on the Showtime channels once in a while. It's a keeper from '96. Okay. So, but yeah, no, totally. Because, like you're saying, you haven't. You like his appeal, and I'm down for him because, unlike any of these other guys, he isn't going to just troll people on social media or just, again, tell the director he's a dipshit and he won't do anything he asks, So
knock on wood, now a scandal will come out like the day after you.
I've heard bad things about Eric Roberts, but I also kind of said, go figure. He's never been politically correct, so I'm not surprised that he's making outrageous things. And
I must have missed those, but
Well, it's not that just that his movies are bad. It's also that he's apparently Mr. Cue Card now. That's his nickname. He's like Marlon Brando. He's like, I'm not gonna learn the lines. I'll do your shitty movie, but please just have the cue cards in front of me.
Hey, why not? You know, he's earned it. He was the Pope of New York or Greenwich Village. He's earned it.
Right. Well, and see, that's the
That
thing
was
too.
Mickey, I guess.
I'm glad you brought that up because, like, unlike Mickey Rourke, I will give Madsen a chance because when I see Mickey Rourke in a movie, I often almost always know that it's like, okay, so he's either not going to give a good performance because he's drunk out of his gourd, or it's just going to remind me that he should just stop working because he's not going to get any good movies. But he is a good actor, and he keeps giving performances that these movies of his don't deserve. You know, they're that bad.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing I think I've seen working in you know, since his heyday is Iron Man 2 and The Wrestler.
And so there you go. Another moment in the sun talking shit about, all these he was on record as saying, there's this one blonde actress, she can't act worth a shit. A lot of people were wondering, was he talking about ScarJo or was he talking about Gwyneth Paltrow? I agree with him either way, but I'm just saying, what the fuck? You don't just say that on a movie set if you co-star.
But yeah, he's another like famous asshole that just keeps, you know, kept getting work too, and I never really understood that. But
that's a good point, because it's just like, what did he say that was just, you know, shitty? People say, you know, I don't want to work with you. You wonder if it's just, I don't know.
Did you beat up a camera person or something once? Or, I don't know who I'm thinking of there. You punch some paparazzi, or which should be done under the right circumstances. But
I think that's just it. I think he did confront the guy, and the guy just pretty much succeeded at uglifying him. I'm like, I don't buy it, because it's not just what I know. It's also just, you know, Madsen has pretty much done the simple thing of be arrested for a DUI or something. I've never seen him just flat out just attack someone. And I don't know. I just thought it was stupid attempt by TMZ to villainize someone. I'm like, for real?
Yeah, really. I mean, compared to anyone else lately, you know, he's a friggin' angel. So
he's totally an angel.
Come on, Hollywood, give him some better stuff.
He doesn't answer any loaded questions. He kind of is a little politically incorrect, but never in a way where you're like, man, what a perv, what a, you know,
right.
cunt.
Well, he's obviously likes working, so he's probably smart enough not to shoot himself in the foot like that. Like
I don't even think he thinks that way either. You know, I don't think he thinks anything ill of people. And I mean,
yeah.
For him to be worried about, oh dear, you know, what did my son do? I think his son was in a jam with the cops or on dealing drugs or something. So just like him, but I've never heard him again just go way off to where he's just, again, like you say, just refusing to show up on set on time, acting like he, you know, is Niagara Falls compared to his co-stars.
Yeah.
So thank you for being on here, and welcome back anytime, Mr.
Oh no, thank you for having me, man. I just
Mr. McGregor.
Next time we do this, I'll have to have seen more of the person's movies.
No, you've seen a good chunk. You mentioned again just off the blue, and I think that's just it. He's just another actor. He had those 2, maybe 5 signature roles, and he was just immortalized. People weren't surprised to see him popping up in production. And I would definitely hire him on a movie if I had time, and if COVID stops, I would be like, okay, we got to get some actor who's not a dick, who everyone thinks is badass, and is going to just do the work.
Kick his agent in the ass, man, with all the original stuff like HBO Max and Hulu, and everybody's putting out high quality stuff, man. Get Michael in there. Come on. I want to see him in some of these shows, you know, that I watch on the streaming services. Yeah,
totally. And he would do it. He wouldn't be like, I'll only do it or this, or I don't do TV. No, he's done a bunch of stuff. But
right, no, yeah, it's nowhere. What last thing he put out was the Damon's Revenge, with The Witching Hour.
So there you go.
Which I'm assuming is not the one that's based on the Anne Rice books. So.
No, it's not even out yet. It probably will never come out yet. But they're just got amateur producers. But I mean, for God's sakes, even looking at his recent guest spot, I mean, he was on an episode of Blue Bloods. I mean, that should say something.
There's nowhere to go but up here, Michael. Yeah, come on, kick your agent in the ass. You can do better. Maybe he just doesn't want to work that hard. Maybe he's just like, I like phoning it in, getting a paycheck, whatever.
Well, that's just it. And because his kind of phoning is still just saying the
really
lines.
Good. Yeah, I mean, by phoning it in, I'm just like, you know, these cheap movies are just
right. Because there's other ones where again, I've seen Eric Roberts in movies where his hair is just crazy and he seems just very angry. And it's just like they had an argument before how to do the scene. And it's like, I don't get that with Michael. I don't ever get a moment where it's just like he's angry at how the cameraman is lighting him, so he's looking off set by accident, or he's not enjoying working against his actors. He would rather, he's said it before, I would rather play a boyfriend or a, mentoring dad, maybe do a sports movie, and they can't help it. They just want me to hold a gun every time.
Yeah, I mean that is a shame because
I think that's it. Damn it, Michael, you did your job too damn well.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's how
it made happens. The first 3 decades of your career dynamite, and now what next?
Yeah. That's why these streaming I mean, there've been some amazing older actors and actresses in some of these shows doing stuff you would never expect of him, and I think it's awesome. And he said he needs to get in on that gravy train. So you got to be paying better than The Bleeding from 2009. I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not in it all that long, and he gets to hunt one vampire. But I mean, this is it. I mean, I will take a chance on his movies because sometimes I just enjoy it, and other times it's bad, but he made it better. And I guess you could say he's kind of critic-proof in a way. Everyone just stops fucking with him because they know. I'm in the same way with Daryl Hannah. I'm like, at least she's still charming and got something good to do, and that's not something I can say about. I mean, I don't agree with Robert Dowie's political beliefs, but I don't think he's ever bad in any movie he's in, even though he's done a lot of garbage, post Die Hard, Profiler.
Yeah.
And
Dowie's still alive, is he?
He's still alive. He's coming out with a Hunter Biden biopic that's starring Gina
Carano.
I'm like, good God. Who gives a shit about Hunter Biden? He's a scandal-ridden dickhead. Why do we care?
Should make Michael feel better about his career.
Right? Compared to Robert Davi, who just got it. And I don't know. I've seen some people say they've been nice to him. Robert Davi was a total dick to me. I'm like, I tagged you in the post. And he's going, shame on you. Why didn't you tag me this way or that way? I'm like, why not be happy I tagged you at all? I tagged you in a post about Maniac Cop, asshole. He is a character compared to Madsen. Yeah, totally. Guys, do an Expendables Taken type movie or just put Madsen in your damn franchise. There is no reason not to. He's technically, I guess, is part of Marvel since Powers was kind of produced for one of their spin-off entities, but no, I wanted to like
that show, man. I was bummed when that didn't get picked up.
Totally. He should voice the Hulk in something, or I don't know.
Well, there's just a million things he could do at Marvel. I mean, shoot,
he could be one of Doctor Strange's opponents.
They got Ethan Hawke over on Moon Knight now, looking pretty rough, I might add. So I mean, Michael actually looks in better shape than he is.
Yeah, what the hell's up with that? Why do all our A-listers look like shit or get outspoken?
They're all getting as old as we are.
I know, but I mean, we hear horror stories about all these people we have a love-hate relationship about. Tom Cruise taking over every movie he's in, or Russell Crowe just not being able to mumble a line.
Don't hire Mr. Scientology if you don't want that to happen.
I know, but I hate it because they're going to get away with it because he's just the millionaires, and I despise that because all these other guys would do simple mistakes and they're blacklisted, and these guys are doing unprofessional shit half the time, leaking trailers after signing NDAs, and they're not fired or canceled. So I'm like, what has this guy done that would possibly make people say, I fucking hate him, fire him, blacklist him, don't let him work anywhere except casual TV guest spot or amateur movies?
Seems to be plenty to go around. One of my theories of proof of us being in a simulation is that there's just, it doesn't seem to me like there's any possible way that people could, even 6 billion people could pump out this many bad movies in this amount of time, and shows and video games. It's just amazing how much stuff is out there. That's why, unfortunately, Michael's not one of those, I have my actors who I will seek out through a snowstorm to see anything they're in, Michael's not one of those, but he's always nice to see when he shows up. He's one of those great character actors.
We'll return after these messages. JURS Podcast is proud to promote AutoCorrect, an independent film company with experienced industry professionals who can serve all your film industry needs. They include self-tapes, voice actor recordings, demo reel editing, script revisions, headshots, and much more. They're Actor Correct at your request. Book them on Instagram.
Hey, feeling down? Feeling low? Not enough podcasts about movies in your life? Why not try
They must be destroyed on sight.
the new Podcast Cure-All? Sure to get you right with the world and on a path to better living. We have exploitation, we have Italian horror, we have zombies, we have slashers, we have crime films, we have spaghetti westerns, we even have sci-fi and sex comedies. So take a dose of
They must be destroyed on sight.
as needed, and let the hosts, Lee Russell, Daniel Harper, Paul Romali, and the odd guest host cure what ails you.
Warning, may cause atrophy, African consumption, black fever, bone shave, chin cough, colic, cramp colic, dropsy of the brain, elephantitis, grocer's itch, jaundice, mania, miasma, mortification, palsy, Pott's disease, rheumatism, scurvy, St. Anthony's fire, summer complaint, and worm fit in some people. Consult a physician before listening.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of her.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history all popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was
How
going to be a
did you
rough
watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Hey everybody, I'm Corey.
And I'm Zach, and we're the hosts of Podcasting After Dark, a cast dedicated to late-night horror and sci-fi of the 80s and 90s, often found on HBO and Cinemax.
You know, the movies your parents didn't want you watching as a kid. You can find us every other week on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and Stitcher.
This is what you want.
This is what you get.
Greetings, friends. My name is Dean Legero, and I'm the host of the 3324 podcast. I invite you to join me and my lifelong friend Eric Kuber to come with us as we discuss the music and movies that shaped our life. Each week, we'll pick an album or film that we really connect to, and not only give you some great info and trivia, but also discuss, debate, and celebrate what it means to us and the journey it took us on. We also look forward to hearing from you and giving us some of your picks for us to check out and discuss. I think it'll be a really fun experience, so come along with us for the ride. You can find us on your favorite podcast provider and at 3324.buzzsprout.com. Thanks for your time, and welcome to the 3324 family.
It's time, let's check our cue, baby. Pair it with a couple brews, baby. We love good movies. We love the bad ones too. So we watch them all and pass their lessons on to you. Oh yeah. Everything I learned from movies helps to make life a little bit groovy. Whether one last plot holes or gratuitous movies, it's time to get busy with your friend Steve and Izzy at eilfm.podbean.com.
We now continue with our program.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up